So today I will be talking to you guys about auditory training. Hearing loss and cognitive decline is the main reason about auditory training. Studies suggest that older people with hearing loss are more at risk for cognitive decline. Hearing loss can be associated with faster rate of cognitive decline. And why is this? Researchers have several theories. One has to do with cognitive load. With untreated hearing loss, the brain gets overworked by constantly straining to understand speech and sound. We're constantly overworking ourselves to understand what other people are telling us. And an overworked brain doesn't work efficiently. That's where hearing aids help us carry that load of information. Another has to do with brain structure. Brain cells can shrink from lack of stimulation when you have an untreated hearing loss, including the parts of the brain that receive and process sound. The last theory is the social isolation theory, and it's when a person has trouble hearing conversations and socializing, they may prefer staying home instead. However, the more isolated a person becomes, the less stimuli their brain receives. And we all know this is real because a lot of times patients with hearing loss say, no, I'd rather stay here. I would rather not go to family dinner or to meeting with my friends because I can't hear in that restaurant or I can't hear when there's music in the background. And that's where that social isolation begins. And that actually has a detrimental effect on our brain health. So studies have shown, like I mentioned, that hearing loss is connected with increased social isolation as well as cognitive decline. Listening can be exhausting, and when your brain is working overtime to hear and understand what's being said, that makes it difficult to pay attention to other things in your environment. In other words, when you're using all your brain power to hear and understand, your brain can't work on the other things it needs to. Auditory training, which is sometimes referred to as oral rehabilitation, was developed by hearing healthcare professionals to assist people with hearing loss by improving their listening skills and their speech understanding. While you physically hear with your ears, your brain is the one that processes the sound and makes sense of them. So your brains and your ears are a team. That's why when we are doing speech testing, we assess the thresholds with the beeps, but we also do speech testing because threshold is one thing, but also how your brain hears and understands the words, that's another. What is auditory training at the end of the day? Auditory training can be defined as a purposeful and systematic presentation of sounds, such as listeners are taught to make perceptual distinction about those sounds. It maximizes the benefit of using hearing aids beyond simply amplifying sounds. It's time to get your brain and your ears working together. So what areas do you tend to work in auditory training? You work your memory, your ability to keep the words in short-term memory. So the meaning of the words and its linguistic content can be processed. This improves the fact that you will be able to retain the information from the beginning to the end of a sentence or of a paragraph, and you'll be able to make better sense of it. The auditory processing speed, it's our ability to recognize speech quickly, which is important during everyday conversation where one word follows another in rapid succession. Auditory attention, it's our ability to extract meaningful speech from a background of competing background noise, as might be required to do when trying to listen in a noisy restaurant. This is very important because, as we all know, background noise is the enemy of hearing loss. It makes it very difficult. So we want to have that better attention, and we want to make sure that our brain has that capability of phasing out that background noise and still paying attention to the person in front of us. So here are some exercises that we can do at home that will help us improve that auditory training. First is read out loud with and without background noise. Just read to yourself. Start reading out loud the newspaper, and then after a few days, read out loud with the TV in the background or the radio in the background. And believe it or not, even though you're the one reading, that helps your brain a lot. Also, have someone read to you the newspaper or for 10-15 minutes with the TV or with the radio or both of them if you want to make it harder. That kind of trains your brain towards paying attention and phasing out background noise. Practice having conversations in noisy situations by simulating those environments at home. You can do this by tuning the radio or television to a normal volume, then have a conversation with others in the room. Focus on the conversation while tuning out all that other sound. It is an exercise and you can do it at home while the TV's on. Close your eyes and ask your partner to quietly move to different parts of the room and make noise. Can you identify the direction where the sound is coming from? And how about the distance where the sound is coming from? Meditate. I know this sounds weird, but it's actually very interesting because meditate eases the brain and teaches the brain to find ways and find sound and concentration. Studies indicate that meditation not only improves attention, but also stimulates blood flow, which is important for hearing health. Sound isolation. This active listening exercise helps your brain practice recognizing sounds. Find a comfortable place to sit and close your eyes. Identify as many of the sounds in your environment as you can, then isolate each one and focus your attention on it for a few seconds. And this one I like, rhythm alternatives, because it kind of makes your mind move and kind of process quicker. Your partner will say a word and you will say at least 4 to 7 or 6 words that can rhyme with it. For example, she's very diplomatic. You can say acrobatic, autocratic, charismatic, systematic, and it will help your brain find words to fill in the gaps quicker. And it's part of the training. All of these activities will help your brain process speech quicker. There are also some apps you can download on your phone and on your iPad. Most of them are free of charge. And here's a list of them. You can download Hear Coach, LACE auditory training programs. You can also download Auditory Training Spice for Life, Hearing Hunt, and Audio Cardio. They will help you. There are a lot of memory games or sound memory games, and they tend to help a lot. You can check them out at the App Store for both Apple or Android devices. And maybe as you're looking for them, you will even find suggestions of new ones that will help you. A lot of these memory games actually tend to help a lot. And the last one that we also use, and we actually work with it here, it's Brain HQ. Brain HQ has a free membership, but also has a subscription membership. We offer the subscription here, or you can do it online by yourself. Literally, it's like a gym for your brain. They recommend you do it at least 5 times a day, an hour a day. I've had patients that say that an hour might be too much, so we still recommend at least 30 to 40 minutes a day. It's like going to the gym and working out for your brain. You have exercises that will work your memory, that will work your attention, your concentration, and believe it or not, those mental exercises will help you fill in the blanks to have a better conversation with other people.